woman possesses equal rights to freedom, safety, and protection in a way unrelated to the standards drawn out by men. Good evening, dear TV friends, and thanks for joining us on another edition of Women's Voice on Divine Mercy Radio Television, a medium where we come to talk on issues not only pertaining to women, but to men, children, and the community as a whole. Today, we are here on set a full panel to talk on femicide as an extreme form of gender-based violence on women and girls. We want to look at some of the reasons, the causes, and the forms of femicide. Why are women a victim of femicide? Why do we have femicide in our community, in our society, in the world? What is the need? What has brought about this serious concern, which is a form of GBV? With us here today, we have an incredible team. We have women from all walks of life who have come to share their experiences, to share their thoughts about the talking points we have today, to share possible solutions to the problems facing women and girls, to the problems concerning gender-based violence and femicide in particular. With us here today, we have Madame Sylvia Elive, who is a psychologist and a community activist for mental health and physiosocial support. Good evening, madam, and thanks for joining us today.
Good evening, dear televiewers. Good evening, the full team. Thanks for another session of Voices for Women.
You're very much welcome. And we also have with us Barrister Akwi Awamo, who is a barrister and solicitor and a women and child rights advocate. Good evening, Barrister, and thanks for joining us.
Good evening. Thanks for having me here again. And it's a pleasure to talk about women's issues, women's rights. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. And we also have a counselor with us here, Nupaye Ariel, who is a counselor at Prime Counseling Services. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's always a pleasure to talk about women and to talk about the society in general.
Thank you very much. We also have our very own Madame Honorine Chen, who is a data journalist, and she's also the founder of Social Action Voice. Good evening, ma'am, and thanks for joining us.
Good evening, Madeleine. It's always a pleasure. I'm happy you called once again, and I'm very, very sure that coming here together as women is going to make more sense and throw more light on the issue of femicide.
Thank you so much for coming. We also want to, today on the panel, we are focused on femicide. We know there are several forms of GBV on women and girls, but today we want to focus on femicide because it is becoming rampant in our societies, in our community. It is becoming the order of the day. So we want to look at what is really the cause of femicide. What is femicide? What is GBV? Some people might be wondering what we are talking about here. That is why we are here today. You could get to us, you share your contributions with us via the numbers that will be displayed on your screens, SMS or WhatsApp, and let us know what you think about our talking points. And of course, feel free to always chip in your contribution. We're going to begin straight away with our first concern of the day, and I'm going to be talking to you, Madam Chen. I want to find out from you, what is your understanding of GBV and what forms, maybe you know of some these forms of GBV. What are some of the forms of GBV you are aware of?
Just like the abbreviation of what it says, GBV is basically gender-based violence. It's any form of violence perpetrated on any form of gender. So you could be a man, you could be a woman, but it's simple as that. Any form of violence perpetrated on somebody because of their gender.
Okay, thank you very much. And to you, Madam Sylvie, maybe you want to outline for us some of the forms of GBV that you have come across or you know of.
There are many forms of gender-based violence, but for the sake of today, we are talking about women. I'll start with the most predominant one, which is the intimate partner violence. Yeah, I think that's one very important form of GBV that we need to look at it. Where we have sexual violence too, we have physical violence, we have economic violence, we have psychological violence. All of them play a different role in the aspect of violence.
Thank you very much. And to you, Barrister, maybe you've come across someone who has been through, or you've had a case, since as your women and child rights advocate, maybe you've come across a case of violence. Which case have you ever come across which comes to do with GBV?
I've come across several cases which may include cases of economic violence, that's financial control. I've come across cases of sexual violence, rape. Yes, rape, which is one of the most causes of one of the most forms that is being practiced of gender-based violence.
Okay.
Yes, and I've also come across issues of child marriages and all that.
Okay, thank you very much. And to you, Madam Ariel Nupaye, I think I'm right. So, to you being a counselor, have you ever come across a form of GBV, and how did you handle this?
Being a counselor, we have the opportunity to work closely with GBV survivors. So I've come across several cases of GBV, but the most prominent ones are rape cases, where you have intimate acts done to an individual, sometimes even minors, by those who are supposed to be caring for them, as you can imagine. So the way we handle it, of course, we provide psychosocial support for these survivors of GBV, and we take them through therapy. We first of all understand that we are a safe space for them. They can confide in us, because a lot of people feel very intimidated. Some people don't want to talk. What will society think? It's my father who did this to me. Is this my uncle? So a lot of these cases, and we try to handle them with care and
Okay, looking at GBV, I think there are some persons who are very, very, should I say, I don't know if I should say, they feel very stigmatized. So when maybe they come for counseling, they seek help, they still will not want to open up. So how do you people handle some of these cases of people who come and they are not comfortable? No matter how you convince them, you try to convince them that you are a safe space for them, but then they still find it very, very difficult to open up and actually tell you what exactly they are going through.
Okay, primarily as a counselor, we want to help people, but we also want to make sure that they are ready to receive the help that we are willing to give. So for example, if somebody comes as a GBV survivor and they don't want to open up yet, we do the first things first. We provide basic first aid. It can look like, taking them to the hospital, basically just giving them water. Are you okay? Take your time. Take all the time you need, because we cannot force them to talk to us. We do the actions that make them understand that they are safe here, and it doesn't necessarily have to be tell me what's happening, or I want to help you, I want to take legal action. So it can be take water, have a rest. Do you need a place? Do you need this? Do you need what do you need? So basically that's just it. We first be there for them as humans, as people, before we be there for them as counselors or as therapists willing to help them.
Okay, thank you very much. And I want to come back to you, Madam Chen. When we talk of femicide, a lot of persons might really know what exactly we are talking about. So when we talk of femicide as an extreme form of GBV, what are we talking about?
So when we talk about femicide, it is simply the killing of a woman or the killing of a girl, in particular by a man, on the account of their gender.
Okay.
So that's what I know femicide is. So you get to lose your life because you are a woman. So at that instance, I think the crime you've committed is the crime of being a woman, or let's say being a lesser, being of a lesser gender. Okay. That's how I look at femicide in the way you asked. But like she said, femicide, it's very, especially in Africa and in Cameroon, it comes with a lot of stigma. So no matter what we do, no matter what we say, I just feel that it's an issue that we are looking at, and I'm happy that at least we are here to talk about the issue of femicide.
Okay, thank you so much. And to you, Madam Elive, maybe you want to, are there forms of femicide? Is it just one type of femicide? Like you mentioned, there are forms of GBV, several forms. So with femicide, are there other forms of femicide? Are there different forms of femicide you might want to highlight for us today?
The one form of femicide I would like to highlight is the intimate partner violence. Why am I going there? There are a lot of things we keep in the cupboard, and we want to be terming femicide just to be the physical femicide. But I want to tell you that even at the level of the family, there exists femicide. Yes, because there's some people that they kill you while you're still alive. How do they kill you? If I blackmail you, if I tarnish you, if I backstab you, I have actually killed you while you're still alive. So now I want us to drift from the physical femicide we are talking and go a bit to the psychological part of it. Because there are aspects in life that if we don't put them straight, you are misleading yourself, one, and the community at large. Oh, this person is too close, she doesn't want to open up, she doesn't want to talk to people. You don't know what they tell them behind the doors. I'm happy she made mention of how they receive their clients. But I want to tell you that if you don't create a rapport between you and the clients, then your therapy may just be a waste of time. And there is no therapy, there is no counseling session that does not start with normal PFA, psychological first aid. Like she mentioned some things. Now the first aid could be the rapport, creating a rapport, telling her I'm not going to kill you, I'm not going to judge you, because that is where most clients will not want to open up. The fear of being judged. So if we shift from there, just the fact that you tell her that no, it's okay to cry, it's okay for this, she starts feeling comfortable around you. And the principles, one of the principles for humanitarian, the aspect of do no harm, guides us so much so that even if you want to think of something negative, as a human being, as a humanitarian, you go to that principle. No matter what you do, the response should not be of harm to the individual. Coming back to femicide, like I said, let's look at the psychological aspect of it. It makes you feel withdrawn. It makes you feel detached. It makes you feel isolated. It makes you feel you want to have these tendencies of I want to kill myself, suicidal tendencies. It makes you feel like maybe I should just be eating. After all, I'll die.
Exactly.
You get, it's as serious as the physical. Let's look at the psychological, then come to the physical.
Okay, thank you so much. And well, we might just be talking femicide. What are some of the causes of femicide? Because it's become very rampant daily. It gets rampant as the days go by. So what are some of the causes of femicide that we might want to outline to our viewers out there today, so they are aware once they start getting to this stage and maybe know how to refrain from it? Maybe we want to outline some of the causes of femicide, maybe anything that affects what surrounds femicide. What is it that brings about, what even brings about femicide to get into the extent of femicide? We know GBV as a whole, there are a lot of things that surround GBV, but then what is the cause of femicide? What are some of those causes of femicide in our community today?
I want to say that femicide has a lot of causes, but let's look at, for me, in a way, based on statistics, it said intimate partner violence happens to be a reason why people commit femicide. And we understand that we are in a community where there are a lot of issues like toxic masculinity, where we believe that the man is a man, the man will always remain the man. So you even find instances where somebody who may have been going through abuse, physical, especially psychological abuse. At times, like she said, you may not see the traces on my body, you may not see the blood on my face, but I am dying inside slowly because of what a man I am married to, a spouse, or because of what a father or even a mother may be telling me every day. So she makes me to believe that I'm nothing. He makes me to understand that I'm nothing. He tells me that without him I cannot live. So if I listen to that every blessed day of my life for 5 years, it's very normal for my self-esteem to have an issue. And because my self-esteem has an issue, I become conservative. I become reserved. That's why she started talking about suicidal thoughts and everything. And it plays on your psychology, a lot on your psychology. You even begin to develop eating disorders because you're like, I I don't have any reason to leave, like she said, and all of that. But if we are talking about femicide, you want to understand that they are our partners. Intimate partner violence is seriously at the rise. There was a case, I don't know, a couple of years ago in Cameroon, and they said somebody who killed the wife, and he has been asked to pay a fine of, I think, 52,000 or was 54,000.
Just recently.
So just imagine the damage you've caused, and then look at what you are being asked to pay. So we are really still behind when it comes to this issue. But I just wanted to focus on that particular form of femicide.
Okay, thank you very much. And Madame Elive, you've been smiling.
You know, this aspect of dependence, when you keep depending on your perpetrator, gradually femicide will set in. And then you have aggression, transfer of aggression. You have this premeditated aggression. I'm going to do this thing because I want this person to know that him or I had this problem and I want to settle it in this manner. In the family too, you may be arguing about property, and somebody do away with you just because they want to get the property. And some cultures too, maybe you have brought disgrace to the family, something that has never happened in that home or in that culture. You have done it and they say, no, this person is good to be killed.
Yes, the Muslims call it honor killing.
Wow.
Yes, that's how it's called, or religious killing.
So you see, it's coming from different angles. If you look at the ecosystem, you have the subsystem, that's a nuclear, you go to the extended, and now you come to the community. So at each of these levels, you have the causes that prompts the femicide to be perpetrated.
Okay.
So we'll look at your level, because if you start level by level, we'll not live here today. But if you look at just the family level, there's something parents always say. When your children argue, say you have 5 children and they argue over something, they don't want to know why they are arguing, and they say, "Wona leave am." Do you know, wona leave am, you tend to overburden the person who is right, who is trying to explain. And the person who is right trying to explain tends to, like, I have aggression with this person, I have to deal with this person. You gave birth to them, you did not give birth to their hearts.
Of course.
So if we are addressing this thing, we should start with the family. It is high time parents stop this thing, say wona leave am, and address the root cause of the problem.
Thank you so much. And to you, Barrister, have you come across, we know, of course, you said, like you said, you've come across so many cases of GBV. But when it comes to femicide, have you ever come across, not a victim, someone whose life is being threatened, maybe by their spouse, maybe by someone else, and maybe they come to you to file a case or something about their life being on the line because of an issue? How do you handle a case like that?
I'm going to say yes, but with women, first of all, most of them come to me or they come to our law firm concerning that kind of case, and we notice that it's a bit restraining, like it's difficult for them to tell us actually what is going on. But they might just focus that, no, this man is threatening my life. And in that aspect, they always come in the sense that, like, they want to divorce. Yes, for this issue, but it's rare to go directly straight forward to what is happening. So most of the times, first we try to give them a very listening ear to understand exactly what they want. We don't put it to them. Like they put it, they tell us that this is what you want. Okay, if you have to divorce, you are the person to tell us that, okay, at the end of the day, I want to divorce because at this moment my life is at risk. Yeah, we can always tell you the consequences, the pros and cons of what you're going through and all that, but we don't put it to you that, no, just leave this man. No, it's at your own decision.
Yeah, you should be able to decide whether or not.
Yes. Then we also notice that one of the causes, some of the causes that of these femicides, you have impunity of perpetrators.
Okay.
Like in most of the cases that we're going to receive, maybe the woman wants to go in for divorce, but her husband cannot be held accountable. Or even in recent cases that we see, just like the one this my sister has made mention of, you see that perpetrators are still not held accountable.
Okay.
Yes, most of them still find a way to do away with it. Then we also have another issue of lack of strong laws, you understand, implementation of laws and policies that really defend the interest of
the victim.
Let me say, victim, not just victims, but a law that talks on intimate partner violence.
Okay.
We have laws that punishes murder, it punishes all the others, but when it goes to the issue of intimate partner violence, it is not clear. It is not clear and concise. So it's really a big barrier that some communities, sometimes the cycle just keep going round because most of our laws are not really strong on that aspect. We have not really spoken about it in the laws. So I think it's time for the legislators to come up and put in laws that will talk more about intimate partner violence, because I think it's really waived. It's waived. Like growing up, there was this ideology that a man cannot rape his wife. But on the contrary, it's happening, and it keeps happening. Many men have that emotion, they have that in their mind. Yes, so it's one of the forces that gives this masculinity construct for men or let me say perpetrators to carry on the act, which is still promoting gender equality and is still uplifting gender stereotypes, societal norms and all that.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And you talked of policies. I think we are here for such sensitizations, because like you said, a lot of women are going through a lot. Women go through a lot, but then some of them too are not willing to, I should not say they're not willing to open up, but then due to circumstances, they find every other person around them as a threat. So maybe they feel like, if I can open up to this person, maybe my perpetrator is going to find out. So I want to find out, who are the primary perpetrators of femicide, and why are these people considered perpetrators of this act, which is an extreme form of GBV?
Okay, one of the primary perpetrators of femicide, you have husbands, you have boyfriends, even former husbands and former boyfriends. They are mostly the perpetrator. And to tell you the truth, it doesn't just get up and happen that the man just kills them. Most of the time, they start with domestic violence, and most of the times the woman sister tries to condone the attitude of the man before it goes to that level. Like there is a recent trend of a case of this girl, this woman, who was recently killed in the farm in Patigo, and she was killed by her husband. The husband even has a history of domestic violence on her, not just on her, but his former wife.
Wow.
So the history has been there, and the husband, because of, let me say, this masculinity construct, he feels that the wife's money should belong, he should have control over the wife's money. So I think it was in this event that the wife picked money for Jangi, then he needed to control the money, and because,
as he always does,
the woman resisted. She didn't want that to happen. So in the event, she went to the farm and all that, and the man found a way to kill her in the farm. They had to find a lot of traces to discover that truly he is the perpetrator of that act, and that's from his previous marriage. And you notice that he was really demonstrating acts of domestic violence on his previous partner. So it always starts. There's always a trace.
There is.
Yes, it starts.
So women just have to be very vigilant, and also they should also speak out, because if maybe that woman could confide in somebody to tell you that this is what I'm going through, women should learn how to come out, just speak out, say it to somebody, because like you said, it always begins with traces. Maybe it starts with throwing slangs at you, you're not good enough, with this kind of man, they do nothing for house. That's how it starts to domestic violence, psychological trauma. You the woman, you're there, you say you're there for the sake of your children, but then there are psychosocial support systems that women could actually seek in cases like that. You could seek counseling on how to handle some of these things. That's why we have counselors, we have psychologists, people that you could open up to. We cannot open up to, if you cannot open up to your family member, you could have someone that you say, okay, I can trust this person with my whole heart. If there's something going on in my life, I think I should talk to this person. So to you, Madam Nupai, yes, so when you have a case like this, like what she's talking of, femicide, that's actually an actual case of femicide. When you have someone for counseling who has threats about femicide or threats of killing, domestic violence and all of that, what is the thing that you do to this? Some women will not accept. No matter how hard you try, no matter how you talk to them, they will still go back to their homes because they say they are going for their children and all of that. But then, what is it that you people do to these women that could make them see reasons why they can actually speak out for themselves to terminate some of these things happening in the society?
Thank you very much for that question. Firstly, I want to say that the reason why we don't get a lot of people with threats coming in for counseling is because most of the times we find out that this is what's going on when the people have already died. Okay. For example, that singer in Nigeria, I think is it Osinachi that died. It's when she died that we actually were able to understand that her husband had been beating her in the marriage. So a lot of people are silent till they finally end up dying, and that's something that I really want to talk about. Like, you have to speak up, you have to actually come out and seek the necessary help that you need, because one slap today, tomorrow a blow, and before we know it, you're 6 feet under. So when we have clients that come to us for counseling, first I want to say that when somebody actually comes and says that I need help, it's because somehow they have had enough. So there's not this, it's just in rare cases that you'll be like, okay, we're going out for sensitization and then we're going to meet these people out there, and then they're just opening up as if they don't want to open up. But I would say that when somebody comes to the office and it's like, this is what is going on, it's because they need help. So most of the times they don't want to put their partners in trouble. They're like, yes, I need help, but I don't want that they should crash him. I don't want that. I don't want that. A lot of people are trying to protect their partners. They need help. But then as counselors, one of the things that we have is empathy. One of our core is empathy. We learn to empathize with the situations of our counselees. So it's very easy for you to say, no, this man, throw him in jail and all of that. But as a counselor, we also put ourselves in their shoes. So of course we want to do the necessary, we want to take the necessary measures. And also when we're building rapport during counseling, we always tell our clients, so everything that you tell me stays confidential, unless otherwise what you're telling me pose a threat to your life or somebody else's life, then I'm going to have to inform the authority. So that is already stated out. So in the process where you're opening up and you're telling me this is what's happening, this is what's happening, and as I'm here like that, I could be dying. So you leave us with no choice, because we've already established that what you're telling us, if at all there's a threat to your life, we have to involve the necessary authorities. Of course, we don't just do it in a manner that will jeopardize your safety even more, because you live with this person or you're close to this person. So if we mishandle it even in the least way, something can happen to you. So we are very careful about the methods that we use in doing this. If it's necessary for us to first remove you from that place, we'll make sure that you're not going back there before we start informing the authorities or the necessary legal firms. There are organizations everywhere that deal with this thing, women empowerment, all of these people that are interested in this kind of cases.
Okay, thank you. Okay, you want to add something? Okay.
I don't know how it happens everywhere, but I'm very particular about what safe space owners do, what organizations with safe spaces do. You could get a client maybe out of an awareness raising session in a community, and hear somebody will say, hey, I think that I don't go through, and you go see that people then. That the person comes themselves, the client meets you. There could be another client who is referred to you. Now what do? You cannot be in a toxic relationship with red flags and I tell you that, okay, since I've cancelled you, go back there. It is human right, it is been normal that you should hold the person back, provided you are not breastfeeding. For one reason or the other, some ask is not going to kill you. You're going to sit there at the safe space. There are safe spaces everywhere. I think the UNFPA has a referral pathway for GBV in particular, where you have different organizations in the southwest and in the northwest operating safe spaces. Even in the suburbs, there are safe spaces. There are safe spaces in Alo, there are safe spaces in Manfe, Upper Bayang, there are safe spaces in Akko, in the northwest, in Cambe. many safe spaces. So it is just a matter of information. Who gets what? How do I get this ability to go? It's tax free. There's no fee attached to it. So you can have time now to reflect why with the psychologist. Because trust me, counseling once is not going to solve the problem. Counseling twice is not going to solve the problem. But you must make a plan, an action plan, that the person sees him or her, see herself like, this is where I came from, so this is where I'm going to. Oh, I need to retreat. Till you give them that picture before and after, during the session, they will never understand what you are talking about, because they are talking from a point of love. They are talking from a point of attachment. Nobody wants to leave their relationship, even with the red flags. Remember, you are the only person seeing the red flag, not them. There's this thing people don't inquire. If for this case you just mentioned, if you have been out there, this man comes to get married to you, most probably you have been in a relationship. So what happened to the person who was there? That man is not a virgin. So we don't want to find out what happened. You're just happy because you need a ring. It's not about the ring, it's about you being alive.
Safety.
It's about your family that raised you. So it's very important that we take note of those little things.
Okay, thank you very much. And we are talking of GBV survivors and all of that. Like, is there a means where they can also look at the perpetrators? Maybe you see a woman is complaining about threats on her life, and then there is also space to talk to this perpetrator to find out what exactly is pushing him to get so aggressive towards the wife, be the wife, the sister, the ex-husband. Where is this aggression coming from? Is there something you want to do, or you want to say it out, and then you don't have a space to aid out? Because most often you always focus on the victims, which is a good thing, but then you don't also want to focus on the perpetrators of these acts. What is pushing them to commit this act? Is there, maybe you could have a space where you could ask them these questions? What pushed you, or what is pushing, what is causing the problem you have, maybe with your spouse, maybe with your child? What is the cause of the problem, until the extent when it gets to GBV, it gets to femicide? To you, is there a space where you could ask these questions to these persons?
I think there's always a space, there's always room to ask. Maybe they may not have mentioned, but if you are keen on following them, you realize that when somebody comes up with a case, for example, at the Women Empowerment and the Family Center, it's always important to know both sides of the stories, because we do have women who lie.
Of course.
So it's important to ask the woman, do you think that your husband can come here? If you feel that your husband cannot come here, can we have his number? Can we call him up? And then if of course she keeps insisting he's violent, they may tell her, okay, depending on the case, like they said, because they have already said if you cannot go back, we'll keep you. But let's say in this case, they would say, go back to your husband and just give us his number, we'll call him up. We will not let him know that you are the one that told us anything. We will not, to also get his side of the story. Because at times, there's a man who can come and see you there only in the presence of counselors, he still beats you up there. So at times it will be like, go and we'll talk to him one-on-one. But from there, after talking to them one-on-one, you can be able to draw the line, and then you can test and see from the person's character or whatsoever. Even I've been in a counseling session where the one partner is asked to go out of the room so that he could talk to the other one, because it was really escalating. And then when they went out, when they came back after speaking to the other person, it was almost as if it was a miracle. When the other person came out, I found out that another person was asking was saying that I am sorry. But then we don't need to put it all out as if it's a cinema. We should also be able to tell them that, how far are you ready to come back to this woman? Are you also ready to come back to this man? Because as they speak, in that instance, they may not be ready to come back to each other. But maybe they need a platform, or they need to be told that if this is what you will do to her often, then you may not have her. I feel that in all of these cases, it will be so unjust to give advice, to do everything you want, even without the husband's knowledge, even in church, because the pastor will always ask you, can your husband come for counseling? Is he available? And you'll be like, no, you're never gone to church. He will never come. He will never. So they'll call, ask for his number, and they'll call. So in my opinion, I feel that it's always important. Even in conflict resolution, you always say that there's a need for mediation. So it's important to mediate.
Okay. Talking about the need for mediation, with communities, it's not, them say it's not justified. But now that is the more reason why you have social workers in the communities. You could do role play. You get a social worker, the social worker go by the husband, just become a new friend to the husband, and you pull the husband up to get stories from the husband, to know, like, maybe my marriage is not working, to get, if the husband will say, mine too is not working. Or the way that I love my wife, say, you love your wife. My wife, I'm just managing how. Those social workers are trained for probing answers. Because if you come with the intention of, I'm asking you a question, the man may hide some information. But if you go now like a social worker, I think that's one.
Even to the neighborhood.
Yes, no, you are going to the neighborhood. You're going to where to his joints, where he gets drinks, where he's always hanging out. You go around there. You are his new friend. You want to open up to that new friend, especially when he has crisis. So from there, you can put one and one together and then do the analysis and see where you're starting with any session or therapy before thinking of how do I mediate this. You must have facts that help you to do mediations.
I also wanted to say something. You were asking about if you get into the mind of this perpetrator. Let's say, for example, this person is actually perpetrating the act, and if you're to have a conversation with this person as a counselor, you realize that most of these things, they don't start in adulthood. A lot of these people that are perpetrators of GBV, it started from childhood. For example, a guy who grew up seeing his dad beat his mom, or a guy who grew up in a society where they understand that a man must beat his wife. That's the only way to correct the wife. You see that a lot of these people have childhood trauma that they have not dealt with. And the thing is, people who have childhood trauma that they have not dealt with, you as a partner, it's not your responsibility to fix them. If you need help, you have to seek help. So as a partner, you cannot be there saying that, he's going through a lot, his father abandoned him when he was 5, or things like that. It is not your responsibility. So if a person notices that I have anger tendencies, I have a tendency to get angry very quickly, or I have this tendency, it is your responsibility as a person to tell yourself, okay, I have to fix myself. And you fix yourself away from your partner. You cannot be fixing yourself and looking at your punching back. So we hold this person behind, and if you, the perpetrator, needs help, come and seek for help. We're not very quick to condemn or to judge. We want to help you because everybody deserves help, but you first have to realize that you need help.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Nupai. And we also you might want to outline for us, Madam Chen, statistics of femicide cases in recent times, maybe around Africa, and what is the statistics we have for femicide cases? Like, it's not like we are talking out of the blues.
So basically, you see, every 10 minutes, partners and family members kill a woman intentionally. Those were the statistics that we had as of 2023. But here, according to a report, it said that in Africa has recorded the highest rates of intimate partner violence and family-related femicides. They say to the tune of 21,700 women who got killed. That is as of 2023. And this number is really quite relatively low in the Americas or in Europe, but like they say 64% in Europe and 58% in other cases. So they were trying to make a discrepancy there, meaning that in Africa that rate is really high, and they go as far as saying that what trouble was every 10 minutes. So we begin to imagine the number of women that keep dying, and they keep dying. It's really huge. That's so far what I got with relations to the statistics that we have of femicide.
Thank you very much. So women should really learn how, or should start speaking out. Speak out. If you're going through any form of GBV, you should speak out, seek help. We're not saying you should speak out on social media platforms, but there are persons out there who are willing to help you in whatever you're going through. Someone is out there willing to help you for no fee. Just the fact that you're psychologically okay, you're morally upright. There are people out there who are willing to help you. It's just for you to seek help in the right places. People are everywhere to help you. You just have to be open enough to seek help when you need them. Well, looking at GBV, let's take maybe we'll talk a little about GBV survivors. So are there services available for GBV survivors? What are some of the services available for these persons who are survivors of GBV?
Okay. First, there are safe spaces for survivors of GBV. We have safe spaces where these people can actually come and seek shelter, like Madam Elive said. They come and seek shelter. You know, if you're a survivor and the perpetrator is somebody who stays in the house with you, you cannot be in that house with that person. So we have safe spaces for these people. We have counseling. There's therapy available for survivors of GB, because you need somebody to actually help you navigate what has happened to you. You need somebody to actually be present, somebody who is going to provide emotional and psychosocial support for you. So we have these counseling services that are available, and basically I think that we have policies. There are laws, you know, like the lawyer was saying, maybe they are not enough, but there are a few. So we have these laws that can actually seek to protect you. For example, if you're trying to seek justice for what has been done against you, we have policies, we have law firms, there are even law NGOs, organizations that actually seek to protect survivors of GBV.
Okay, thank you very much. And Barrister, what is it you're telling policymakers today as to what concerns GBV? Like we're mentioning intimate violence. Yes, what is it? What is that advice you're giving out there? What is that recommendation, if I should put it, you're giving out there for GBV survivors to be able to live freely in their communities and the society as a whole?
Firstly, I'm going to begin with the aspect of laws. In Cameroon, we have laws. At least we have the laws, and we have really gone a step ahead concerning laws that punishes perpetrators of different forms of GBV. Now, the problem is on intimate partner violence. Okay. So it is not well elaborated in the law. Okay. So for example, we need a law that will say, okay, domestic violence is punishable like this. In our law, it is not well spelled out. We need a law that will say femicide is like this. In other laws, you will get it very clear there. Yes, but it's not there. We just have a general concept about it. Like we have something like adultery that punishes killing and all that. But we need that particular law that will emphasize and be able to understand that if anybody is reading it, will know that no, if I'm perpetrating such act against this person, it's going to be like that. Yes, you are going to face the consequences of it. As she said, yeah, one of the responses, like while in the field, I noticed that there was a problem with victims of survivors, because you must be a victim before you become a survivor. They have this problem of reporting, and most of them don't want their perpetrators to be held accountable now because of threat, fear for their life, or family influence, or most of the times the perpetrators are within the confines of the family, and the family always wants to protect the family name, so it always ends there. You will not be surprised that there are cases of femicides that happens maybe between brother and sister only within the house, but then the family will never spell it out. It's difficult to hear such cases. Most of the cases that we keep hearing is husband killing the wife or boyfriend killing the wife, but cases are still there of brothers who can kill their sisters. Yes, and it's issues of when you cannot manage your anger, or you see that your father has been perpetrating such things, just as she rightly mentioned, it always starts sometimes from childhood. Then there's another thing, substance abuse. It is one of, it is an alarming cause also of GBV, like substance abuse. You know, because it's something that most guys nowadays really take it. They take this substance and they act out of proportion. They don't act within their reasoning, like senses. You understand? So they commit the act before they notice that this is what I've done. So I think that we can take a step. Let's improve on our laws and policies, even law enforcement makers, they should be able to receive survivors of victims. You will hear cases
and report the cases well.
Yes, you will even hear cases that they will go to report, but the stigma is going to be it's going to be worse there. Yes, I've received cases where a girl said, no, I went to this station to report, and they said, no, didn't you enjoy it? Was you not like the victim blame? You understand? So, and you as a victim, will you want to go back there again? Even to go and confine to someone else will be a problem. So I think that we should start creating that friendly environment. Even law enforcement officers, they should start creating that friendly environment to help to understand most of these victims' their problems and try to see how they can intervene. And yes, we understand that some of them can be lying and so on, but no, first of all, put it to the person that you believe the person and try to understand if the person is lying, why is the person lying? You go to the root cause of the person's problem. So let's start from there.
I remember that there is no justification for GBV. There's no justification, and I don't know, but when it comes to response, Intersource has a hotline. They have a hotline 8565. It's for free. You pick any network call and the social worker will pick, and you talk without even knowing that this is your face. So that is why we want to reduce the rate of this person to person information. So we use hotlines. From the hotlines now, you could get different services like the medical services. Yes, you could have the proper way to refer and work with the survivors. Since we are looking at a technology let's go everything digital.
We have apps.
Yes, there are apps. Yeah, that you discuss. AI apps are there. But you don't want to see things that are real.
Because to an extent, so you get to a point where you might want to actually meet this person, and
if you build a rapport during the hotline, there are clients that I've never seen and they will never see me.
Of course.
But they are telling you every day, madam, can I see you? And I will just smile and say, well, you cannot see me. Maybe I know them. I know them in person. But the time I put on the professional coat, I may not want you to know me again. But I want the situation to be addressed.
Okay, thank you so much for that contribution, and we are running out of time, but then I also want us, maybe if someone has something to say concerning creating a positive community where women or GBV survivors, be it male, female, because some men too are GBV survivors.
Yes.
So men are being violated in one way or the other. So what are we saying to maybe a GBV survivor watching us there, or someone who is at the verge of becoming a survivor? Because the women will take, you can see a woman has taken, she said, I've taken it for like 20 years. You live 20 years of your life in pain in the name of your taking it because of your children and all that. So maybe Madam Chen, you want to maybe talk to a woman out there, talk to a survivor, GBV survivor out there, give her words of encouragement, or how she could create a positive community around her.
I think the only thing I want to hammer on is that we will keep raising awareness until the kingdom come. So we will keep talking, but then it's a call for women to rise up. It's a call for you as a woman to know who you are. Let me tap from my religious background just to say that if you understand that you are beautifully and wonderfully made by God, if you understand that you were born for a purpose, before he formed you, like he said in Jeremiah, he knew you. So don't get lost in what he says. And in all of this, I'm hammering a lot on economic violence, because if you have what to eat, if you know how to stand well, if you can fry your small gari, if you can roast your small corn, I bet you these instances or this violence to an extent can be reduced. But when you become dependent every day, my child, it's because of my children that I'm going back there. Remember and know that one day when you will leave, in the next second this man will still have another person. So I want to really speak to the women to have more esteem of themselves, to really know who they are, because in my life I have seen beautiful albinos, I have seen wonderful women who are lame, who know who they are, and a man cannot even touch them, not even dream of giving birth to them. So when you look at them and you are asking, So this woman knows who she is. You can also know who you are. So for me, this femicide of an issue, no matter how we talk, at the end of the day, we need to also know that if we are economically empowered, that man will not see us. But like she has said, or like a couple of us have said, it's a plan. You don't just wake up in the morning and leave somebody's house. You need to plan. You need to plan and even trust in the plan you have for yourself, and even believe in this person talking to you, because I don't think there's a counselor that will want to mislead you, or there's a lawyer that will want to mislead you, or a pastor. So for me, that's what I would say.
Thank you very much. And to you, Madam Nupai, maybe you have something to tell someone watching out there.
If you're watching and you are going through gender-based violence wherever you are, if you're a lady, if you're a man, let me talk to the ladies most especially. If you're thinking about your kids, remember, it is more important to have an alive parent than to have your two parents together. Your children will appreciate it more if you were alive than if you were dead. So please remember that you have to put yourself first. And also, there is no price for enduring. Of course. There's no, they're not going to give you a price at the end of the day that, okay, this is what happened, you were the longest in marriage. If it's going to affect your life, and if your life is being threatened, please seek the necessary help that you need. There are a lot of people who can help you. There's the women, if you don't know how to start, there's the Women Empowerment Center here. And even the Ministry of Women and Family Affairs here at Boyatown, you can go there and first explain your problem to them. I think that they'll be able to refer you to the necessary people. Like Madam Elive said, Intersource has a hotline. I think she mentions the number. Just take the first step. If you don't know what else to do, if you're confused, you don't know what to do, just take the first step. Make that phone call, reach out to somebody, anybody, and allow the professionals to handle the rest.
Thank you very much. And to you, Barrister.
Well, I would say women should keep standing for themselves, define your purpose, know your rights, find your happiness. Don't endure because it's for another person's happiness, but find your happiness. Be able to discover yourself, embrace your full potentials. And if you're going through whatsoever, you are not alone. You are strong. You just need help, and you have to accept that you need help. Then you seek help from the appropriate authorities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Madam Elive, maybe you have something to say for 1 minute and we'll call it a day.
Don't neglect yourself. You're beautiful the way you are. You have come through a lot, so you cannot give up now. Cheer up. We remain one in this battle.
Thank you so much. And dear viewers, we come to the end of our program today, Women's Voice, and our talking point remain femicide, an extreme form of GBV on women and girls. We hope you've learned something from our incredible guests, from what they said, from the contributions they made. Hope it's going to help you out there to be able to stand out, even the young girls who may be going through GBV in their homes, be it by their stepfathers, be it by whoever they live with, their guardian. Remember to seek help in the appropriate quarters. It's very, very important. Like they all said, you are beautiful the way you are. You can do it on your own. You just need to step out of your comfort zone a little and talk to someone who is going to be of help to you. Thank you so much to you all for coming, such an incredible panel, and thank you all for your very, very insightful contributions. Thank you, our dear viewers, for being part of the program, for following us today. Thank you so much. We hope you've grabbed something. We hope you're going to bed today with something very important to you to stand up for yourself. Thank you so much for being part of the program. I've been Magdalene Wundo. Stay tuned to Divine Mercy Radio Television and keep the rendezvous next week, Thursday. Have a great evening.